Here we go in 3, 2, 1. And welcome back into Weekend Joe, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura and Munganess Alton Toyota here on ClaibsOnline.com. Hey, later on tonight, it is the opening ceremonies of the 2020 Olympics here in 2021. And you can see all the coverage for the next couple weeks on Channel 5 locally, along with all the other NBC stations. So I figured, why not reach out to our friend, the sports director over there at KSDK, Frank Cusumano, to preview the Olympics a little bit and talk about whatever else comes to mind. Frank, man, how you doing?
Good to be with you, Joe. It's an honor to be a part of this. This is the first time I've done this type of video on Claibs Online. It's really cool.
Thank you. And it's the stuff that we have learned. The stuff that I've learned the last year and a half, having to deal with technology and find new ways of streaming has been just leaps and bounds over what I knew. I can't imagine, you doing sports every night on Channel 5, the different things that you've had to do and not having people in studio or not getting to go and cover events. Just how crazy has it been for you these past 17 months?
Yeah, I did, I guess, about 4 or 5 months at home where my wife, Monique, was my photographer. And it was crazy, especially when you didn't have sports going on. So you just had to in many ways, it was a lot harder because you had to feature out. You had to dig into Rolodexes. You had to come up with lists. And you had to just use every creative ounce in your body to somehow fill, 9-10 minutes of sports every day, and then a half hour on Sunday. So I'll tell you one quick story is, you're familiar with Ozark, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And do you remember Ruth, the young girl, the blonde,
yeah,
had kind of a foul mouth? So one day I was taping the sportscast, and I was kind of screwing up a few times. And Monique was getting really upset because she had something, somewhere to go. And she was kind of making me a little bit nervous because we were approaching deadline. And so I said to her, Monique, the object of the photographer is to make the talent feel at ease. And she looked at me, and in that Ruth tone, she says, "You're the effing talent?" So I had to deal with her smart aleck attitude and all these other technology issues the whole time. It was hell.
So I need to make sure before we go any further, you're doing this on a computer, right? She's not standing there on the phone holding up the camera again. This feed's not about to go out after you tell a story like that, right?
Oh, no, she's not around at all, so I'm sick.
Which is one of the reasons why you just told that story. So.
Absolutely. She has never listened or watched on television for the last 15 years. Occasionally, she'll watch Sports Plus if I have an attractive guest on. She's, oh, he was cute. But, yeah, she's not watching me anymore. No, she's bored.
So with the Olympics coming up, you have the next 2 weeks. That stuff's going to be on prime time on Channel 5. As far as your role for doing the sports every night, how does that change what you are going to have to do with the local news?
Well, it's not so much with the actual sports cast. At 5, 6, and 10, we have an Olympic Zone show that airs every night at 6:30. It's a half-hour show that we'll be putting a lot of work in throughout the day about what's coming up that night, what happened the night before, what local angle is happening. So a half hour of locked in and loaded Olympic coverage just from Channel 5. And then, at 10 o'clock, there's some people that actually don't care about the Olympics. So we have a duty to be covering, the Cardinals, and to be covering Mizzou football and training camp, high school football beginning and things like that. So, there'll be some Olympic coverage in our sports cast, but the Olympic Zone every night at 6:30. And I'll tell you what, there's some that are cynics, Joe, that say, oh, the Olympics, that's just for the housewife to watch the gymnastics. If you look at the ratings, that's not the story. Local numbers are down. They're not down for the Olympics. We get a huge spike. In fact, Joe, the Friday night of the gymnastics and the Sunday night of the gymnastics, when we had the women in action in St. Louis, we had the highest rating of any NBC affiliate in the country. It was like off the charts. We had an hour-long show about gymnastics that was a humongous rating. So yeah, it is big. There's no doubt about it.
And then when you add on to that too, how many people were at the Dome watching it that weren't watching on Channel 5? That makes it even more impressive.
You're right, because like the 20,000 were there on that Sunday night. That would have really increased the ratings even higher, but they were actually at the event and they didn't count for the TV ratings. It's a good point.
That's that really is crazy. So you're going to get all the main sports, the track and field, the gymnastics, the swimming. That's going to be on KSDK each and every night. How much do you follow the other sports, the ones that'll be on the USA or the CNBC, the ones that'll be on during the day? How you personally, how closely do you follow those?
I can't say that I'll be an expert in covering those, and we'll get a really insightful log about each day. Hey, this is what's coming up, or this is what happened, and I'll keep an eye on it. But during the day, I'm kind of keeping a little more of an idea on the day-to-day stuff in St. Louis till we get that half-hour show. But I will say this, is there probably, and I'm a huge Giannis fan, I don't think there could be any more compelling athlete in the summer of 2021 than Simone Biles. I mean, I don't even know if anybody's even close. Joe, I mean, I don't know if you watched any of the NBC stuff, but what I was amazed at, and I saw her up close and personal, but I don't think you can get the full appreciation for it if you're watching in person as opposed to watching on TV. I thought that there was like some kind of like jetpack on her body. I mean, I don't know how any human being, Joe, could actually get off the ground that high. I thought Michael jumped really high in the slam dunk contest. You watch this thing in slow-mo. Wait, this is a human being with the same arms and legs that I have, and yet she's like flying through the air without any help. It's absolutely stunning.
And then when you just see up close and personal just how small she is too. Oh. I mean, all of that, just the muscle in her legs and the way that she is built inside that tiny package. She is not, I mean, there have been gymnastics before, and really the women's gymnastics team has come in all shapes and sizes over the years, and for being as tiny as she is and getting the height on some of those jumps, and when you see her in person for the first time, you're just like, my God, that makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And almost all of them are like that. You say they come in all shapes and sizes. You're right. There are some a little bit taller, but in general, they are all tiny, and they're just all freaky, off the charts athletes.
So you, when you put together this show, you're talking the Olympic Zone, and you guys are doing this. I got to think. I mean, we're recording this on Wednesday already. We've already had some issues with athletes there in Japan testing positive and dropping out and pulling themselves out of the events. This is really going to be kind of an up to the minute type of deal that you guys are going to have to put out there. You guys might not be able to pre-produce something like this hours in advance, knowing how just how things can change in a moment with these positive COVID tests over there.
Yeah, the testing is just insane. We did a story the other day, Joe, on an Olympic diving judge. Her name is Julia Allring. She'll be the only United States Olympic diving judge in Tokyo. There's only 18 going to the Olympics, and she's one of 18. And the amazing thing is that she showed me her COVID test kit. She has to take this every day before she goes to Tokyo, and she's leaving on Wednesday while we're taping here. But she has to take a selfie of herself while she's doing the COVID testing. While this thing's up her nose, she's got to take a selfie so they know it's legit. And then while she's there, 18 straight days of COVID testing. She can't leave the hotel without supervision. Like, let's just say I could picture staying in a resort for 18 days, but I'd also like to be able to go to a bunch of different restaurants and go work out. She basically can't leave her hotel room. So yeah, it's going to be crazy for some of the athletes. That's why I understand why some of these great tennis players are not going. These spoiled brat professional athletes, they're there for 18 days if they don't have to. That's why so many have dropped out.
Yeah, and it's in the middle of summer too, with the past year that they've had. It makes sense more this year than it has any other year. But the one thing that really is depressing so far, and Frank, I know you're a huge basketball fan, like I am too. But seeing this Team USA, it was a great story locally, having Beal and Tatum originally on the team. That's not the case anymore. But to see them losing some of the prelim games or some of the practice games and just some of the names on this roster, this is no 1992 roster. This is no dream team that they're sending over to Tokyo. It kind of takes away a little bit from the games, knowing that the men's basketball team probably isn't going to be, they aren't going to end up in any history books.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when we think of the United States Olympic teams, we may think of Oscar Robertson and Jerry West going together, or we may think of, Bird and Magic and the Dream Team, or LeBron and all his great stars. And then on this team, there's going to be a guy named JaVale McGee. I mean, are you telling me there's not a center better than JaVale McGee?
I've heard of him. It's the one that they took from the Spurs. The one that, well, I don't even know what his first name is. That's
yeah,
and you can't think of it either. It's
Keldon Johnson, something like that. Yeah,
I mean, at least Christian Laettner did something in college before he was named to the Dream Team. This guy played good defense for Pop.
But with that said, and as disappointing as they have been, there's no doubt about it, they've been disappointing. I still think when they play for real and you're trotting out Tatum, KD, Dame, maybe Levine, and then you have like Middleton, Booker, Holiday, I think they're still going to come home with the gold, but it's going to be a fight.
I don't know. We could. I don't want to be anti-US here, but that's just one that I don't see that. I don't see that happening at the moment. So this is. I know. So I know what back in 2016. I know you didn't travel to the Olympics then. I'm trying to think. As long as I've known you, Frank, I don't think. Have you ever gone and covered an Olympic Games?
Yes, 1996. I was in Atlanta for about 30 days. Yeah, that was cool. I wasn't wild about going to the other countries. I always thought 30 days away when you have young kids and all their sporting events was not up my cup of tea because I wanted to be at every game. But I enjoyed the heck out of Atlanta. It was really neat. I was in Centennial Park where the bombing took place. And we were there we did our live shots and we left. And then 15 minutes later, the bomb went off.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember this too, because I hate to embarrass my wife again on a podcast. But okay, so there's like 10 of us from Channel 5. 9 of us, as soon as we got back to the hotel, got these frantic phone calls from our wives. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? I didn't hear from Monique. The next day, she calls. She says, well, I'm in Florida with the kids. I hope you're well. Stay in touch. She was really worried. I'm trashing her twice.
God. So yeah, you guys, that's the thing. I know not many people at all. I mean, the way the media is going to cover the games this year, I know you guys aren't sending anybody.
No, you really can't.
And I don't think I haven't heard of any, and all the major people that usually will travel to these, nobody is really going to this. It's just going to be, there's going to be no fans at any of the events. It's going to be basically what we see through the cameras for everybody.
The only media member that I know personally that's going is a guy I'm sure you've heard of, is Pat Forty.
Yes.
And do you know why Pat Forty is going?
To watch his daughter, right?
Exactly. So I don't think he was going to go, but then wait a minute. Hey, maybe I'm going to tell he works with Yahoo now, I think. Right? Yeah. Yeah. I think we should cover the Olympics here. We got to cover the swimming. Yeah, I'll cover it. So that's probably why he's going. So yeah, I don't think anybody was wild about going at all.
All right. Well, Frank, as you mentioned, the Olympic Zone will be each and every night during the Olympic Games. You said at what time?
6:30 every night at Channel 5, and then we hit the coverage live at 7 o'clock. And they take it, by the way, sometimes till 10:30, a half hour late for news, 11, an hour late for news, and sometimes they take it to midnight. So we'll be having some late night sportscasts for the next 17 days.
And with the games being in Japan, is there going to be anything on during the day live over there?
Oh, yeah, there's going to be plenty of stuff. Yep, absolutely.
All right, so you guys can field all the phone calls about people missing their stories during the day when.
You mean the soap operas?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'll get hate mail. It's the worst.
Well, Frank, enjoy the next few weeks of Olympic coverage, and we'll be tuning in to Channel 5 KSDK for all of it.
Joe, thanks for introducing me to some new technology. This is awfully cool. I really appreciate it. Thanks again.